recording on this computer. You can see, I don't know if you can see a red recording up the top.
Yep.
Advising you, we are recording this ready. Okay, I'll keep an eye out for Chongi, but I can't see her joining at the moment. So I'm still looking.
Oh, right.
No, I can't see her. Okay. Well, if she can get in, we'll get her in. Okay, so basically, as per the agenda, apologies have been noted and all is in attendance. Could I have a mover and a second that the apologies be accepted, please?
I'll move it.
Elmore, sorry, and Pat, sorry, thank you.
Elmore and Echuca.
Yes, please. All in
Thank
favour of that?
you. Yep, thank you very much.
At this point in time, we haven't got a guest, but I don't know what's going on there, but we'll work that out. Rightio, previous meetings of the AGM, the 8th AGM held in May last year. We all had a look at that, did we?
Yep.
Yes.
Is that, could I have someone that was at that meeting to confirm it was a true and accurate record? Pat, would you prepared to do that? Thank you, as past chair. And seconded.
Trevor.
Thank you. All in favour of that being a true and accurate record?
Yep.
Who seconded it, sorry?
River.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Saying, Richard, I apologise, that's the way it should be done. Any business arising? I couldn't see anything that was anything there. Pat, could you see anything in there?
No,
No.
it's all good.
All right, thank
All
you.
good.
All right, so moving on. All right, that's the previous minutes. Geez, if we get this, we'll be finished before we can blink. Okay, the chairman's report. All right, there's Chongi. Leave and join, decline. She's trying to dip me into her meeting.
Want me to ring her?
Yeah.
Tell her to hang up?
No, well, I've hung up on her anyway, so if you tell her, we'll ring her back. Okay.
Yeah.
Has everyone seen the chairman's report?
Yes.
Any questions on it? I'm not going to go reading them all. I think they've been passed around and you got them on file. Okay, we'll move on to the financial report.
Did they, those reports need movers and seconders?
We'll do all the reports in one hit.
Righto.
Are you happy with that? Reports. Okay. So
Hang up. Barry will have to call you in. You can't call him in. Uh-oh. All right. Okay. Tony's not coming in.
okay, no worries. Okay, so we sent you all a financial report.
All right.
I think is there any questions on that report? You can see that we'd lost $3,000, and that was basically through purchase of 2 computers and a new software for online booking and SMS purchases. So a lot of it is assets, but a lot of it is additional cover for the division. Then there was the new badges, which was $970. It cost us over $1,200, so we only wrote off the one payment from the state events. I will show you that. Where is it? Income state event. Oh no, haven't got it there to clearly show. so what we wrote up was we bought enough for 3 years. We wrote off $300 and something for this year, which left an asset or virtually an asset of the money that was in there of 900 or whatever the dollars were, which I've got here as. And then with the pandemic, we had extra expenses with Zoom and connections and getting everyone on board and into the system. So that was another $500. And this year, because we were meeting every fortnight and travelling from Kyabram, Tongala and Mathara, the board passed a motion reimbursing them $20 for every time they travelled to a board meeting, because even the $100 they were getting in honorariums would never ever cover that. And with all that, and also if a director went to a meeting somewhere, that expense was covered. So that came up to just over $1,000. So that's why we slipped into the red there, and so that sort of is a flyby thing that you can see that. Any questions on that? Is there any concerns about that? No.
No.
Basically, I mean, the board, like all boards, tries to take things as they are and when there are, and so that was the way that this board and all those expenses were ratified by the board, and that was the decision that the way the board wanted to manage those particular things. We then move into the report where this year, by the way, the board moved a motion that we weren't getting the report audited. It's not mandatory, and it hasn't been audited, but if there's any concerns, we will throw it across the bookkeeper or whatever to give to you. But I assure you, Gail has done every statement, divided it off, every conceivable format, showing you like every transaction was logged and dissected, and balances and everything went through. So I can assure you she's done a wonderful job there. So is any concerns with that with you people?
Yeah, Barry, I don't have a concern with Gail. I trust her emphatically, but rather than get an auditor, you can get someone like a person who works for a bank just to check through the books and sign them off.
Yep.
It just give you another set of eyes. While I trust Gail and all that, I just think it's for her benefit too, just to get another set of eyes across the books.
Yes, look, yeah, and you'll notice this report is up to this very second, right? So I was suggesting to Gail that we would look to the board to say, like Boots, who was an ex-treasurer, an ex-secretary who is a bookkeeper and knows how all the books, he could have a look at it, or whoever you feel, I mean, the books, and ratify that, because I do agree that you're protecting Gail's there, because if anyone ever thought anything, they would put that down. So yeah, point noted.
Barry.
Happy with that?
Yes.
Can I
Barry,
just add to
1 second. Pat first. Pat.
I know that we don't need it audited, but there are a few accountant type people around Echuca that do check off books for smaller sporting clubs, other sporting clubs. And I do know that our treasurer, Ian Whiting, does that for some other local sporting clubs because of his background. So that's, you could have Boots, you could have Ian, there's probably multiple people.
Yeah. I know Ian, I used to work with him, so yeah.
Yeah.
I think the board have given me the nod there anyway. I just asked them and they're happy to go to a bookkeeper and whatever. So we'll sort that out, and that report will come back ratified from an accountant for you people. So, and the very hard thing, if you compare figures, if you look at the audit report that was presented for the other years, finishes on the 1st of April, which is still 1 month trading between the things. So we've actually given you one that finishes right now, and that is the true status of where we are and our cash position. So if you look at the balance sheet, we've actually, which it's not on the other audit reports, we've given you the actual status of the bank of all the accounts that are under the envelope of the Bendigo of Capaci Valley Bowls incorporated at the Bendigo Bank, and you can see there we opened a new event, a new one for state events. It was open at $1 and stays at $1 because all the funds have been distributed to the clubs, and payments due to go back have been processed. The card account was a new system we done because in the past I was buying a lot of stuff for websites and all that, and it'd go under me and it looked like I was getting paid a fortune, but all I was doing was buying stuff for the group. So we've got a card account which now is there to buy miscellaneous goods, and it only ever rides up to $100, or if there's something that is more than $100, it gets deposited across to cover that amount, then drops down again. And that is not an open card. It is processed by 2 approvals electronically. No, sorry, the transfer for it to have money is by 2 transfers, so that incorporates the governance to allow us to have 2 signatures for money going across. But at no stage, if you look at, one sec, I'll see if I can find, you can see on the left there, I know you're not sharing your screen. One sec, I'll put you over to here. There's the transactions of the account, and you can see every now and again it jumps up, but that's for a specific purchase. All right. So that's the concept of the card account, where the statement account transfers money across. That's under dual. That's the standard electronic system where all money coming from our master account goes across to there. I haven't got the. That's the statement account. Statement account. There's our working account there, and that's 2 accounts payments, right? So your balance sheet. Now we incorporated this in purely for your information. Countryman Bowls Carnival currently has a balance of 7,171, and if you look at the income side of it, there was small cost of $828, and Pat, that would have been credits charges for operating expenses for Moma Tourism mainly, would it?
Yeah, they advanced us $800 to start with. So that's what, and so then we had to put that back. Yeah.
But what I mean is you would have had, there would have been charges, wasn't there charges for every time they processed an account for us, you know, if I rang up the book?
No, all of that was waived because of COVID.
Okay.
We only, because they had to do refunds for everybody, it was, and because of the pandemic, they actually waived it for all of the organisations that they'd done the booking
That was
for.
wonderful. So,
yeah.
And the income, I've separated the income for the total income that was received because everything was refunded was the 2 grants from the Capaci Shire and the Murray Shire, of course, and that was, again, Pat, wonderful that they allowed us to have that again for this coming season.
Absolutely.
It was
yeah.
So, and we're not including, we've deliberately kept CVBD separate, but just we need to be able to, because that's part of what's under the structure of our banking, and the Cannons is outside. I think they're outside of us, but all the others are there. Because if I remember rightly, John Blair and I opened up an individual account, not sub-accounts. These are sub-accounts. Okay. Any other questions on the financials?
Barry, I'd just like to say to the board, well done on putting the pricing of the state events up. and it was pleasing to get cheques better than $50 that we've had over other years.
I think, and I've got to add up to this basically. Now, I've forgotten his name. It'll come to me. Wait a sec. I'll just show you state event history.
Yeah.
When we put it up, everyone said you'll lose your members. You won't get as many bowlers. Can you see it's the biggest list we've had since 2015-16?
Yeah. Oh, good.
Now, I also think the concept of us running them on the same day also helped get bowlers in, because a lot of state bowlers are hubby and wife type people as well. But it definitely worked, and thank you to the clubs for processing that survey where we said all the women's events are going to be on weekends instead of midweek, and the only midweek events were a couple of rounds of the 16 over singles or pairs. I'm not sure which one it was, but all the rest came in, and of course the payments to the clubs I think was excellent. You know, I mean, as Mark said, you know, you would have got what, $50 or whatever, and now we're hopefully helping out those the smaller clubs, all clubs. Not worried about smaller clubs. Basically, that was a very interesting chart to have to see. So our overall income for the year was via all the invoices here. Here's your yearbooks, and we also in this year, when we sent an invoice out for the 75%, we put the team registration. So that, because it's always fallen in before, it's just fee, what's it called? It says fees received. That's where that occurs, but it's the total of the team registration, membership affiliation, and that. And then when the 25% comes out, the club, like, as I'll give you an example, Echuca, when we invoiced the 75%, we invoiced for 142. Then that was adjusted from Bowlslink to 138. So therefore, that's 138 there, and this fee was reduced accordingly to adjust for the 6 people not. And that happened across a few of the clubs, because at all the meetings we've been saying to you, check your numbers, because Bowlslink was struggling at the time, and we knew it was a new system, so you've got to be fair. Anyway, any other questions on all that? No? All right. So the other reports, I think if I could, I will ask for a mover in a second for the financial report, because that is a major report for the whole agenda. So could I have
I move it. I just need a seconder. Thanks.
I will.
Beryl, was it?
Yep.
It's got to be a
Delegate.
Okay.
I will.
Who was
I
it?
will.
Sorry.
Could be delegate moved and seconded.
Pat seconded. Echuca seconded.
Okay.
Pat is a director, is a treasurer allowed to do that, or can it be? Does it have to be moved to delegate?
No, I think that's all right for the treasurer to move it.
Yeah.
The treasurer's got to move it.
Yeah, the treasurer's there.
Okay, but it's got to be seconded by a delegate. So, all in favour of the receiving the treasurer's report?
Yes.
Anyone against? No. Thank you very, very much, Gail. You appreciate that.
Thank you.
Gail put in a hell of a lot of work, and I thank her. She's done a marvellous job. Now, umpire's report with Denise Pappen, that was attached. As those that know, at the start of the season, we held an umpire seminar, and we had fairly good, I'd say a minimum of 2 or 3 per club. There was quite a few at Moama that particular day. And it was very, very good, because we went through the rules. The umpires requested to change a few interpretations, which the board took on. A few of the times they were trying to get involved in policy, but a lot of the time the what they were asking was common sense and got through. So that was a very successful day that Denise run there. Cannons, as you can see there, they're still going fairly well. And the Country Carnival, Wyndham's Country Carnival, Pat, have you got anything you want to say? I think it all says it pretty straightforward in your thing. The only thing that's missing in your report, I don't know who won the raffle.
You should have watched the live streaming, Barry.
I blinked.
I missed it too, Barry. But I heard.
Who won, Pat?
I
Wow.
won.
And for those that don't know, it was live streamed and it was genuinely live. And I can tell you the expression on Pat's face was genuinely live and going, what the hell have I done here?
I think it couldn't have gone to a better person.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah.
So anyway, and as you probably all know, Victoria are allowing CVBD to run it this year, which fits in well that we're still there. And Pat's got most of her ladies already lined up, haven't you, Pat?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We're having a meeting next Thursday.
Right. Well, that's wonderful. It's a very, very great group of ladies. They're doing a wonderful job. Okay. At that, we come to positions and that. So I'll declare all positions vacant and I'll hand it over to the secretary.
Thanks, Barry. Okay. As there are no doubles up in the nominations for any of the positions, now declare all positions vacant. For the position of, I lost my piece of paper, here we go. For the position of chairman, to nominate Barry Brown was nominated by Graham Top and seconded by Mark Griffiths. I'd like to now declare Barry the chairman for 2020-21.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Barry. Okay, for the position of vice chairman, its nominee is Rod Werner, who was nominated by Barry Cuttress and seconded by Michelle Cunnington. That I declare that position now is for Rod, and congratulations, Rod. Well done. Secretary is Gail, nominated by Graham Top and seconded by Stan Limbury. Now, there's no other nominees for that too, so I now declare Gail is the secretary for 2020-21.
Well done, Gail.
Good job.
Okay, treasurer is Gail again, nominated by Graham Top and seconded by Stan Limbury. No other nominations, so I declare that Gail is treasurer for 2020-21.
Well done.
Okay, ladies, board member year for 1 year is Dot Parkinson, who was nominated by Pat Scram and seconded by Graham Top. No other nominations for that position. I'd now declare that Dot is the ladies year 1 year for 2020-21. Congratulations, Dot. For the men's board member for the 1 year is Jeff Keith. He was nominated by Betty Carline and seconded by Pat McMeekin. No other nominations for that position. So I declare that Jeff is the holder of that position for 2020-21. Congratulations, Jeff. For the ladies board member for 2 years is Beryl Murray, nominated by Mark Griffiths, seconded by Barry Cuttress. No other nominations for that position. I now declare Beryl the board member for 2 years. Congratulations, Beryl. And the men's board member for 2 years is Brian Canane. He was nominated by Jeff Top and seconded by Greg Watkins. I'd like to declare that position is now belonging to Brian, and congratulations, Brian.
And everyone.
for that position. And I would like to myself say welcome to you, Brian, for our next season. And I'd like to say a sad farewell to Rob, who has been with us. And
Sorry, Rob.
yeah, sorry to see you go, Rob. But anyway,
Excellent.
it was great working with you in the last 12 months.
I enjoyed it greatly, and I hope Brian gets as much out of it as what I did. And I wish all the board for next year all the best. You've got a very good chairman, a good secretary, and good board members, and I'm sure you'll do a top job. So congratulations to you all.
Well done, Robbie.
And now I'd like to pass the meeting back to Barry. Thank you.
Thank you. And the most important thing is that Robbie never ever stirred Gail.
See this hair? It's a bit greyer than what it was at the start of the year.
Just a bit of clarity there. If you're wondering about this lady, 1 year lady, 2 year men, 2 year, 1 year, in the middle of the year we changed the constitution, and those are the actual official positions. Now, at this point of time, with the region review, there won't be any further boards from this one going on, and then we'll go to the region. So just realise that is by name only by position, because when we done that, the regional board, or I think Pat might have had a little idea of it, but we were not to know what was going on. So, but that's the reason why those names are 1 year, 2 year. Okay. Honorariums. Now, with the honorariums, I would hope that the other delegates, could I have I'll ask for a motion from the delegates to accept that those honorariums for this year just gone be accepted and be paid. Pat, 1, and Rochester, 2. All in favour?
Yeah.
Thank you. You'll see, and I do apologise, but what happened was that they've already been paid, which is wrong. I do apologise. But we, as a board, sat down when all this started with the pandemic, thinking that we put it off till September, like everyone did. We'll go to September. And we didn't even have visions of these that we're having now. So we put it off, and then it was moved that the honorariums be paid at that time, and then go to get to the, before we get to the AGM and just pay it, because, you know, people have to be paid for their 12 months work. So that is the grounding there. I do apologise that the board possibly overstepped its mark, but that was the rationale behind it, that we were not looked at the time when all this happened. We were not going to see each other for a long time, and now we've got the pleasure of seeing ourselves now. So,
Excuse me, Barry, we haven't got Toppy in there.
no, I haven't been. I've been going.
He said he's been waiting since 10 to 7 and got nothing.
Well,
Apologise for me.
I've looked at his thing all the time that he's been talking. His little green light's not on. So you might be waiting.
Might be having red wine instead.
No, can you put Toppy as an apology? Can we accept Toppy as a late apology, please? And with all those reports, I'd like someone to move that all those reports be accepted. Thank you, Ken, and Arsel and Elmore. All in favour?
Yes.
So who was it? Sorry, I was too busy.
Arsel
Marshall no more.
and Elmore.
Elmore. Thank you.
Any other business from the clubs about coming year? Anyone want to discuss anything, or is that sort of not? We haven't asked for general business, but what I will do, I will close the AGM at 7:35. I thank you for that, and that is the AGM finished. I'll ask for general comments or any comments or any ideas for the coming into the new season.
Barry, would you just give a brief outline of the plans for the division, new division, just as you see it?
The new region.
Region, sorry, yep.
region had a meeting on Friday,
Yeah.
and out of that region came some excellent stuff, and I think Pat's been working on that, I hope. And where the Constitution, which was originally released, it just said 8 board positions, and even though the frequently asked question said it suggested to have players representing from all playing zones, Jean Belt, in her wisdom, moved motions to have equality of the playing divisions represented on the board. Pat, have you got any more news on that?
Yeah, we've been to the solicitor twice this week with wordings, and we've got another meeting next week, and we'll get it exactly right. It has to be right because some regions will have 2 playing areas, some will have 3, some will have 4.
But the important part is, Pat, of course, that we are heading in the right direction of that concept, and that is the biggest trigger, because the biggest scary thing that I had a vision of was that we've got 11 clubs strong. Bendigo division has got 22 clubs strong, and there's been no real things put in writing, but it is going to be at Goldfields, is it, Pat?
Yeah.
Goldfields will be in that same region. And so with Bendigo holding 22 clubs, the mass clubs, if directors stood for all positions, I would think with the clubs voting for their own people, knowing who they know, you would have got a walkover of Bendigo people. But now with this meeting from region on Friday, and it sounds wonderful what we're hearing from Pat, that it will be a very manageable committee, which will give the clubs, the old CVBD, our clubs here, the opportunity to have direct contact with directors that can have direct input into the board to be able to help with, because that board is virtually running the regulations, and then you've got your subcommittees under that running pennant, match committee, and all your other different little sub levels for each playing area. So all being equal, that to me was the greatest news that I'd received, because up to then I was very concerned that we could get that equality of being able to have input from the playing groups. But that was the best thing that I've heard so far. Would you agree, Pat?
Absolutely. Mm.
Because it was a real concern. You know, I'd had a lot of thoughts on it, and you know, if it stayed the way it was, it'd be a Bendigo board, and we would be sitting back going, "Can we do it this way?" And they'd be going, "No, you'll do it our way." So, but that's not to be, and we're heading in the right direction. And I know Bowles-Vic wanted it done this year, but to me, sometimes less haste makes better decisions, and this is one of them that we will work our way through, and the vibes from the different areas will come through, and we'll hopefully get a very, very good result out of it that will work well for all. I mean, the grassroots bowler isn't going to know any different. It's only administration. But you have other comments on that, Pat?
No.
Any other questions or any concerns? Anyone got concerns on the new format of the region?
So probably my question is, the current CVBD board are happy with the progress that way?
Well, the current board haven't had much to talk on it. The only thing that the CVBD board have done of appoint a subcommittee, which is Gail and myself, the chairperson and the secretary, and Bendigo Bowls Division has done have done exactly the same. We had a meeting last week on Thursday. Then I had the region one on Friday. But the divisions are trying to get together to work how Pennant will, to try to make recommendations for regulations for Pennant to operate. So at this stage of the game, we haven't had really the board haven't really sat down and discussed it. So it's just a matter of getting the two groups to try to get a formula for each of their divisions, and I'm hoping Bowles-Vic will come up with an official document that says the Goldfields are in it, so that we can then go to the Goldfields and say, okay, what are your particular things? Have you got anything? And then we'll give the make recommendations to the new regional board, or I think the way Pat was suggesting that the regional board be the what's that fancy word, Pat? I'm losing the hub or the binding committee to put it all together for the incoming regional board. So that's a big job, and there's a lot of work to be done on.
What clubs are in the goldfield?
Maryborough Highlands, Talbot. There's
Denali.
there's 7 or 8. Avoca's probably probably going to Grampians. There's some work being done. Barry's just mentioned he'd like a definitive description of who's going where, but at this point in time that can't be done. We had a region review meeting today where we're still dealing with current issues. Like, you know, we've got next year's issues, but we've got current issues as well. So there'll be a definitive description of who's going where after we've dealt with the issues for this season.
But we've got 12 months to sort it out. You know, like it's not as if it's going to be a big issue, but the 2 divisions that know what their upcoming tasks are trying to get together to try to do some regulation, really on the Pennant side of things, and the region, as we discussed on Friday, they've got the state. They've been managing region for years, and they know what's required there. I think some of the divisions think they know what's required there too, but it's more the level of trying to get the divisions to fit in and then make recommendations down. They're not trying to overrun it, but they're just trying to get together and put in a half a package for people to go, good idea or not a good idea. It gives them a starting point. So, and with a bit of luck, we have some good people, if they are concerned, stand for board this year for region. We have got virtually, Pat, will you be going on region this year, do you think?
Well, I hope to accept a nomination, yes.
Available, yep. I don't think Dawn is with her health is going on. I definitely know Mike isn't going on. So there's 2 positions for here. Denise, I believe, said she would become available because she's a vice president. So there's still 2 positions available that we would like to see good people that need to get into the work and enjoy region. So, and that's be an important role. So we need to be lobbying that for as soon as that can be done, which is September, October, when we can have all the clubs together. Unfortunately, congratulations to you guys that we're all proactive and we're here on this. Bendigo can't even get their board to do it, let alone the 22 clubs. So congratulations to you all for what you're doing, because it is important, and it's important for the next few months while we're in this condition, we can keep feeding back to you, and if your good ideas feed them to us, so that we can try to get this done and get some bowls done as quick as possible. I can see this has got, and I've not even spoke to the board about this, my vision this year with the way social distancing will be, I can't see how we're going to be able to have that mid-break and go in and sit down and have a cup of tea. So that to me is going to mean it's going to have to be 21 ends straight through. This is Barry Brown talking here, not chairman. To me, that's going to be a very big question. The separation is going to have to be there until we get a vaccine, and they're talking 8 MRCU. So that is going to be our biggest issue in bowls. And so I personally can't see how, if we're going to enjoy Pennant, how we can bowl 25 ends with a mid-break. But that's a very personal view. Right?
Barry, I've got something.
Yep.
You've heard me say this before. 17 rounds. Effectively, this season just gone, a lot of teams only played 12 matches because one was a heat out and one was a washout. I've got 3. I can give you the 3 extra weeks. We start a week earlier, but
don't worry about that. Yeah, keep going with that.
start a week earlier maybe. the weekend that we had a bye, or we didn't play, that Moama had a tournament on, and also the last weekend before Christmas. You can pick up 3 weekends before Christmas.
I think if you ask any of your bowlers about the weekend before Christmas, if they want to bowl Saturday when it's 2 days before Christmas, and that's the weekend when they all have their family coming or going, I think you'll.
They all said yes. They all said yes. About 3 people said no.
Anyway, that's thank you for that. That will be fairly widely discussed, I can assure you. Any other comments?
So what about even social distancing with pennant players on the greens? Like,
Well, I've sent a concept down to Tony last week about it, whereby at any time there's only 2 people at each end of the green.
yeah.
And that means that you have up one end you have the skipper and the second, the first end, skipper and the second. The skipper's on the green, the second's on the bank. And at the other end, you've got the lead on the green and the third on the bank. And they, instead of walking on the way that we normally do, walk across the header and step over bowls and shoulder to shoulder, we come in from the centre of the green and we walk on the green and go to the rink, our own individual rink from the green. That stops separation. And then when the lead bowls his 2 bowls, the second up the other end with actually bowls it, carries his bowls down, he bowls it, they get off the green and the third comes on and they cross over. And at no stage is there more than 2 people on the green. The shortest rinks allowed are 4.3 metres, and that you can have everyone sitting on their seats side by side, maintaining their distance, and can stand on the green side by side, giving their distance across and still holding separation. It's there. I've shown Tony, but I mean, pretty hard to understand with little pictures, but there is a concept which we'll try to make a little bit clearer, but it's no point if Bowls Victoria won't let us do it. But I mean, that's something that's going to happen. You know, we're still 6 months away from that. The other situation, which I think might have to change this year, is we might not be able to have a printed yearbook, because even though you might want 17 rounds, you might not only get 6 rounds or 5 rounds or 8 rounds. We just don't know. So basically, until we know, we can then go to press, but quite often that's far too late. So that's going to be a big decision for the board to make this year, whether we're going to do a printed book. And if we don't, then it's virtually up to the clubs to print off what's relevant, give to the relevant bowlers, give them the draw, whatever to take home, and whatever. You know, there's a few people do that. I think, Pat, did you say Loddon region do that? They have a website, a digital yearbook. I think, did I hear you say that?
No, I didn't say that, but there are some that do.
Yeah. But I mean, again, if things start falling, I mean, look at the yearbook problems. If you guys can't get together and start your bowling program, you don't know how you're going to run a tournament, because that's a nightmare, because you have lunch and you'll have all that in the middle. How are you going to run tournaments? How are you going to get to the separation situation? So all that is a nightmare. And until we've got that, we can't even get tournaments in. We can't get. So we'll sort of be sitting in limbo, hoping we can get something going so you guys can survive and get going. You know. I know Bendigo wrote to Tony this week, seeing whether Bowls Victoria would help with affiliation fees and that type of thing. But I mean, it's an easy comment to make a letter. It's a hard one for the accountants to work out how they do it. Any other questions?
I'd just like to say one thing, that because of such problem organising tournaments and that, I think it would be good that we work towards having more pennant, simply because that gives us at least a backstop that we could get some play done. Like, I know this year is unknown, and every bit of play we can get, I think, will be a bonus.
the easiest way to give more pennant is writing to Bowls Victoria and asking them to move their regional finals back. Because if you know anything about it, all events are based on regional final play dates.
Yeah.
And that's what everything comes to. That's when you're doing your pairs and your triples and all that. Everything has to be done to a regional final. And with everything set as it is now, April and May, if they can move back even a couple of weeks, all your wishes would become easy because there's heaps of room there to manoeuvre, you know. And that's something that possibly with this coming up that we've got to say, you know. I mean, I asked the question, why does the pennant finals have to be so far out? The answer I got from the young lass I was talking to in Bowls Victoria was, oh, we like to do the draw and we like to have all the players' names on it, right? Now that to me, if I'm going to be playing in a regional final, there's one team I know, and one of them is Bendigo Campaspe. The other one's whatever the name of the regions. We don't need to know the name of the players or the teams. All it is, Bendigo Campaspe play Wimmera or whatever the region names are. That's who play. So there's ways to be able to do it, and if we can get that moved back a bit, all divisions will have that luxury of having that little bit more breathing time to allow us to have that season sorted with what's going on this coming year.
So it'd be good if we could work towards that, or the other alternative is to say that does Division 2, 3, 4, 5 have to people that play in Division 2 don't play in state finals. So do we have to stop playing pennant because obviously Division 1 can't play, but maybe the other divisions can. Is that possible?
Oh, again, it's not impossible. It's the answer to that. But this, whether we want to have continuity of saying you're playing round 5, but you're playing round 7, and who gets confused and who doesn't. Look,
it's very hard to draw. That does.
Sorry.
It's very hard to do a draw for that. Because you can't play the same round twice.
So it's look, it's a big thing that the board are going to be looking at this year. It's a very hard thing, and we will be talking to you guys a lot more now that we can do this, and get back and yak and try to get your feedback and talk to you. Because in all honesty, who can tell me when we're going to be able to play pennant in any format? The government's letting it. Bowls Australia is against it. Bowls Victoria are following along the same line, and rightly so. They don't want to be there promoting something that could cause us people, which the majority is the senior, die. You know, that's the last thing they want. So, and that's the last thing we want as a division or a club. We don't want any of our people.
No, so I agree with that. We need to work together and get as much bowls as we can. That's all I can say.
I understand, but we've got to find a way to do it.
Yes.
It's easy to turn around and say 25 rounds, and now you've got to find out who's going to do it. You know.
That's right. As long as we're all working together, we can agree. Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Or
you need an umpire director?
Do we need one? We will.
Mark Law said he'll do it.
Oh, that's your bloke up there. Yeah, Denise has already approached him, I think. Thanks. And we've been given his name, but that's great.
He told me that he'll do it.
Yeah, for people's, for what we're talking about there, up until this year, Denise was our chairman of umpires, but she wasn't qualified to reaccredit umpires. Pat, so Hester was, but Pat spent her time and withdrew. And Denise took over. We were going to try to get a train, but we couldn't get anything that suited her program. And now this chap, where did he come from, Ken?
Seymour.
Seymour, very, very highly qualified and is prepared to do it. So we can now sit back and relax and enjoy that we can keep our umpires up to date and get more umpires accredited so that we can get more umpires for our game. So, but thanks for that, Ken. We're talking to Denise last Friday and she made comment about that down at Reason. Anyone else? No? All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you, Brian, for being with us tonight. Oh, you are actually, Brian, you are actually a board member now.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, all right. So thank you very much. I'll end the meeting and we'll go from there. Notice we didn't get cut off this time because we used our commercial account. So thank you again and good evening and we'll catch up very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Hey, Barry, can I give you a ring?
Yes.
I'll give you a ring in a minute.
Okay. Thank you,
I'll give
everybody.
you-
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, all.